welcome to our channel. Before this video starts, I'd like to say thank you to @TamaBabyBoy over on Tumblr for letting me read her story. There will be a link to her page and to the specific one-shot in the description box, so feel free to check out the author and show some love. Now, Roses and Butterflies, Tamaki Amajiki, ex-listener. As a child, you were always littered with drawings. Some were your own creations, others your soulmates. The two of you became particularly good at depicting each other's favorite things. You often drew butterflies for your soulmate, and they often drew you roses, even before you were literate enough to communicate properly. As soon as you learned to read and write, you and your soulmate were talking every day. Your favorite mornings were those you woke up to roses being drawn on your hand, along with the sweet good morning message. You never failed to add a message of your own, inking in some butterflies for your soulmate. You and Tamaki knew everything about each other. Quirks, birthdays, interests, hobbies, secrets, and everything in between. You spent long nights writing to each other about your wildest dreams and planning your future accordingly together. You longed for the day you would finally get to meet him. Due to distance, the two of you opted not to worry about it until you were a bit older. You were fated to be with each other forever. What's a few more years when you have all the time in the world? You also chosen not to give each other your social media accounts. You wanted the first time you saw each other to be when you met in person. Both of you wanted to be heroes and wanted to focus on studies and training so you could get into the schools you wanted to attend. Of course, you still spoke every chance you got. Your impending hero training a frequent topic of conversation. Tamaki was set on going to UA along with his best friend Miriam, who you'd gotten a few enthusiastic hellos from over the years, due to him commandeering his best friend's arms. Little did he know, you planned to move there to attend as well. It is the best hero school in Japan after all. As far as he knew, you didn't mind what school you went to, as long as you would be able to lead a successful career after graduation. Each time he asked you about the school you were looking at, you dismissed him with an, I don't know, or made up some excuse about looking at multiple in your area. Truly, you knew UA was the only school for you. Your plan was to surprise Tamaki. You didn't want him to get his hopes up of the two of you going to the same school, only for you to not get in. So, you chose to keep silent. You worked hard in your studies and training and gave it your all on the entrance exam. After all, you meeting your soulmate depended on this. There, you felt an odd sense of familiarity with the boy you saw standing with his forehead pressed against the wall. A blonde boy standing next to him, attempting to calm him down. You thought nothing of it. You returned to your hometown anxiously awaiting the results of the exam, hoping against hope that your dreams would come true, and you could not only attend the best hero school in Japan, but also get to finally have your soulmate by your side. Despite having agreed upon waiting a little while, both you and Tamaki would be lying if either of you said you didn't want to meet each other as soon as possible. Now that the opportunity was so close you could taste it, you would have a hard time letting go of it. You spent the waiting period writing to your soulmate. He was just as nervous as you were. You spoke of your anticipation as well, though you said your application was to a school in your area. As the two of you always have, you comforted one another with drawings of roses and butterflies. The excitement of getting into UA was only amplified by the gravity of the situation. Not only did you get into the school of your dreams, but you would be going there with your soulmate, who was excitedly writing to you about his own results. You shared his excitement, letting him know that you had gotten to your school as well, and the two of you celebrated for your own dreams and for each other's. You couldn't believe it. You were finally going to meet Tamaki. After all these years of getting to know him without even knowing what he looks like. Not only that, but you would be training to be heroes together. You would only be reaching towards your dreams together. The feeling of this realization was better than anything you'd ever felt before, and you debated spilling the beans to your soulmate so he could share it with you. However, you still wanted to surprise him. It was difficult keeping the secret all along, and when you had to hold back from telling Tamaki about moving, it was even more so. The two of you told each other everything, and it was tough holding back. Though you were sure of the look on his face, a face you were finally going to see for the first time, once you met, would be worth the wait. Through your constant conversations with Tamaki, you found that you were in the same class, making you even happier. The chances of that happening had to have been low. You can only thank the universe for your luck, already having thanked it for pairing you with Tamaki in the first place. As the first day drew near, you nearly cracked and told your soulmate of your whereabouts on a multitude of occasions. You ended up keeping it together though, and soon your first day as a UA student arrived. That morning, as you and your soulmate wrote to one another, you suddenly became worried. You knew Tamaki better than anyone, meaning you knew of his extreme anxiety. Would meeting you today cause him even more stress, and you knew he was already under? Would it overwhelm him? You decided to give him a cryptic heads up, closing the conversation with a "see you later" and a drawing of a butterfly. He was puzzled by your choice of goodbye. What did you mean you see him later? It was an odd wording considering what he thought the situation to be. Your anxiousness grew as you approached your classroom. It's highly likely that your soulmate is in there right now, and this thought both unnerved you and excited you, despite the fact that you wouldn't know which person he was until attendance was called. As you sat in your assigned seat, you recognized two boys that you saw at the entrance exam. The blonde one speaking to the dark-haired one, who was currently hiding his face on his arms. On one of his exposed hands, you could make out something in writing and a butterfly. Oh my God, it's him. Tamaki was the sweetest, most adorable human you would ever had the pleasure of conversing with, and he sure looked the part. You hadn't even seen his face yet, and all you wanted to do was hug him. You figured the blonde was Muriel. Tamaki had told you that he would be in the same class as well. Another wave of anxiety rushed through you as you realized that you couldn't back up of your surprise now, despite your soulmate's obvious discomfort with the current situation. You hoped that finding out you were there would put him at ease and help him to enjoy this new environment, though you could never be sure. In an attempt to comfort him, you drew a few more quick butterflies on your hand. Though glancing across the room, you knew he didn't see them as he was still hiding in his own arms. When the teacher entered the room, the class grew silent. Sparing one last look at your soulmate, who hadn't yet risen his head, you turned your attention to your new homeroom teacher. You were at UA to become a hero after all, not just to be with Tamaki. As roll call began, you grew even more nervous, knowing it was nearing your name and the secret would be revealed. You began to chew on your lip and bounce your leg, not paying attention when your soulmate raised his head to signal his presence to the teacher. Listener? Here! Tamaki's head and Muriel's, excited for his best friend, whipped towards the sound of your voice. And as your teacher was calling the next name, you and your soulmate locked eyes. It was love at first sight. Really, you two were in love long before that and had confessed it many times, but this was different. You were laying eyes on one another for the very first time. You smiled widely at him, and he blushed and looked away, a small smile on his face. Forced to turn your attention to the teacher once more, you soon saw a message appear in your hand. Is that really you? How are you here right now? I told you to see you later, didn't I? At lunch that day, Muriel and your newfound friend Desiree couldn't stop talking about how amazing it was that you would all get to spend 3 years together at UA. All you and Tamaki could think as you held hands under the table, thankful to finally be able to do so, was 3 years and the rest of our lives. And that is the end of our first video. I want to thank Elle for letting her story be the first one that I read here on YouTube. If you guys want to check out her other work and you like roses and butterflies, there will be links to where you can find her in the description box below.